Going on? This is your boy Town Biz. Um, Tested out some new equipment, got me a new mic for the phone, you know, because I pretty much do everything from my phone. Um, I'm in the process of getting a computer, but I feel like this is more convenient for me, working off my phone, instead of, working off of a laptop. I don't be at home enough. So, this works best for me, but just making some upgrades. So I decided to get me some new equipment. But I wanted to talk about an unfortunate situation that happened on December the 9th, if I'm not mistaken, going into December the 10th, where you had a inmate by the name of Robert Brooks. And basically, to make a long story short, he was savagely beaten to a pulp to where basically he lost his life via law enforcement correctional officers. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to say this again. He was handcuffed, and the body cam shows him being repeatedly kicked and punched by at least somewhere in between 13 to 14 different men. So it took all those officers who have advantage based off the fact that he's handcuffed. Unless you have superhuman, Superman, Incredible Hulk Thor like strength, in all likelihood, a dude that's handcuffed pretty much can't do anything to you. It doesn't matter if he was being unruly, there's no reason to beat a man to a pulp to where basically he loses his life. Now, Catherine Hogle is calling for these officers to be right now just fired. I'm sorry. Being terminated isn't good enough because you know why? They can just go work somewhere else. They can get another job at another facility. They need to be fired and they need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Now, before somebody come on here trying to make this a political battle or a political debate about, well, Trump said he, okay, we're not going to do that because Joe Biden is still president. And fact checked, according to reports, more unarmed black men and women have been shot and killed under Kamala and Joe Biden's watch. But we want to pick and choose who we want to have outrage towards and who we want to play these political games towards. And I'm not doing that. I'm not the one. I'm not going for that. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not the day after tomorrow. And don't come on here talking about, well, he was in prison, he did something to be in prison. That's besides the point. That still doesn't give correctional officers the right to play judge, jury, and executioner. They have plenty of methods of subduing a person, from taser to pepper spray. It's no reason to repeatedly punch and kick somebody like that. And then they think people are supposed to be okay with this. And once again, this is why there's this tension and this distrust between people that look like me and law enforcement. It's been going on for, it's been going on for decades. You can pretty much make an argument over a century, going back to the slave trade. Okay. This has always been a problem. Now we know there's going to be some people, there are going to be some Negroes that's going to try to co-op and try to justify, and we know who in all likelihood they're going to be. It's going to be the fat dude. It's going to be probably Grimace. It's probably going to be golf ball chin. Candace. It's probably gonna be that goofy dude from Dallas, Officer Coonum. It's gonna be one of those type of people that's gonna try to defend and justify that savage behavior. That was savagery. There is no way you can justify that. At the end of the day, these dudes are sworn in officers. You are supposed to protect the peace, not not, not create chaos. And this is the problem, and they need to do a better job of how they evaluate officers. And the problem is you got these officers looking like gang members, looking like they're no different from the people that they arrest and put behind bars. Some of these officers look like they should be behind bars. Some of these officers look more intimidating than the so-called criminals. And I was sent this video, by Modern Brutes, good friend of mine. He was sickened. At the end of the day, you get put in prison for a reason. Some people have the opportunity to learn from their mistakes and redeem themselves. Then there's some people that are going to remain in prison the rest of their life. But at the same time, does that give you the right to beat on somebody, brutalize somebody because you have a badge? You're no better than them. You're no different from them. And you belong in the same cage, human warehouse that you're supposed to be securing. At the end of the day, Robert Brooks still have people that care about him, I'm going to assume. The family of Robert Brooks should sue the prison, and they should sue the state. That's just basically it. They should sue the state of New York, including Governor Kathy Hochul, for $100 million. And like I said before, do not try to justify and say, oh, well, once you go to prison, you lose your right. You lose your right. You're a menace to. No. Doesn't work like that. But y'all only say that about certain people. I'm gonna prove to you that the temperament is always different when it comes to criminal activity. It really does come down to what you look like. I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna show the receipts, how people treat certain situations or similar situations totally different. It really comes down to who or what they look like. How can anybody with a straight face sit up here and try to justify if they saw that video? If you are trying to justify and dignify what those savages did, you're just as bad as them. If you are black, you are a Sambo, you are a Uncle Tom, you are a coon. If you are white, you're a racist. And that's the only way to put it. And do not come on here saying, hey, let's not make this about race. Oh, I'm making this about race, because that's exactly what it's about. And people need to stop trying to play these games. Please stop trying to insult our intelligence, and particularly minds. For you to beat a handcuffed man to a pope, they beat that man to a pope. They battered him to where he lost his life. And it's funny, KRS-One, even though KRS-One has fell out of favor with a lot of people for different circumstances, but that's another video for another day. He made a song called Who Protects Us From You. The footage is cringeworthy. I think anybody that tries to justify this says a lot about them, shows how disingenuous they are, and that basically they are what I said they are. Can't get around this. There's no way you can justify that type of behavior. I'm not gaslighting. The fire's already been set. And I will say this much. Shout out to the person that recorded that horrific, horrifying act of violence and turned them dudes in. Shout out to whoever that was for doing the right thing. Now, they did say that those dudes tried to turn, a lot of them tried to turn off their body cams, which means this could have been plotted. This could have been conspired. They need to be an internal investigation. And I'm sorry, termination is not good enough. I understand if you get terminated, like if you're stealing commissary or withholding money from the prisoners, that's fine. But when you commit an act of violence, that was just flat out murder. And that's all it was. And we got to stop sugarcoating these type of things. You're going to have people that's going to try to say, well, I did research. He did this. He did that. This is why he's in prison. Listen, you don't get to play judge, jury, and executioner. This is not Judge Dredd where you get to do all three of them at once. He already was convicted or pleaded to whatever crime he committed. So that's been handled by the judge. A jury heard his trial. It's not up to the officers to execute, and they executed him. That was a gang-like jumping. That ain't no different from what you see on the streets. It's funny how we sit up here and call people cowards who jump a dude that's by himself. If it's, I mean, for real, the man was handcuffed and had 14 people. I mean, he was defenseless. So I don't want to hear you try to justify his past or whatever, because that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to look up his name, and they're going to try to get you to believe that, oh, he deserved. No. Because I'm pretty sure there's somebody in there that did probably far worse than he did. Why is they still alive? If that's the case, if he did something so horrendous, why ain't they executing everybody that goes in there? Why wasn't he given the death sentence? Why was he in there as an inmate? So don't try that. I'm going to cut you guys off at the path. I'm not going to let you get away with that. Because that's what they tried to do with George Floyd and try to say, oh, well, George Floyd did this. And well, here's the thing. George Floyd was a free man. Allegedly passing out a counterfeit bill that he might have not even knew that he had a counterfeit. It's easy to come across counterfeits. A lot of people don't have devices where they can check and see whether a bill is counterfeit. But you had people actually trying to say that George Floyd got what was coming to him. Get out of here. So everybody that go to prison is a cast off. So everybody that goes to prison is liable to be beaten to a pulp to where they lose their life. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. No way on God's green earth can you try to justify what happened with Robert Brooks. No way. There is no justifiable, logical, senseful reason to try to explain to people with common sense who know that was just wrong. Literally dead wrong. I'm 50 years old. I done seen it all and been through it all. Still going through some things. Always praying for my well-being. Always praying for other people's safety. It's funny how when you go to prison, you have to worry about rival gangs. You have to worry about, if you're black, neo-Nazis and all that kind of stuff, all these other hate groups that don't like you. But damn, you got to worry about the prison guards as well. You got to worry about them too. You got to worry about them taking you out. All of those dudes involved should be locked up. Now, just in case you try to play that role, oh, well, some of those officers were black. So how do you explain this being about race? You want to have that you want to have that debate too. You want to have that discussion. We all know, we see it on a regular basis where you got black people that intentionally co-op and conspire against other blacks for Caucasian approval, for snow points. Not going to say brownie points, snow points. So don't try that with me. You see that on a regular basis. Some of the biggest white supremacists or advocates of white supremacists actually are black. And that's sad to say. Real talk. From Bill O'Neill to the dude that sold out Nat Turner, to the people that betrayed Malcolm X, to the people that betrayed Martin Luther King. Some of them are the biggest supporters. And arguably J. Edgar Hoover. You know? I believe it. I've been seeing this for years. All you got to do, if you couldn't believe what you saw, go look at the Rodney King video. Go look at the George Floyd video. And this is why I'm always begging and pleading with black people to stick together. And like I said, the biggest supporters and advocates, activists of white supremacy are black people themselves. I know this is going to bother people, but it's the truth. Yeah, no, I'm not going to, do not let anybody, and I mean absolutely anybody, try to talk around this and try to justify what happened to Robert Brooks. There is no logic on God's green earth to explain what those people did to him, what those cowards did to him. He was helpless. He was helpless. He was defenseless. But, but like I said, there's still going to be people that's going to try to justify this. That's going to try. And I double dare you to try to come on my channel and try to justify that. I double dare somebody to try to justify that. I'm almost wishing somebody would come on here and try to justify that behavior, that savagery. How's the how I just want to ask everybody, so how's the sound? Can everybody hear me clearly? Give me a thumbs up. I got this new mic. Got this new mic that I'm trying out. Nah, that's routine. Well, I don't know if there was any sound, but I just saw the video. Okay, thank you. I just saw the video of what happened to Robert Brooks, but that was enough. And once again, a lot of people are dodging this story, but my heart just couldn't let me end the night without at least speaking on this. Because at the end of the day, we have to be vocal. We have to be vocal. We have to speak up and we have to spread the word. If people don't want to ride with us, then we'll ride over them. If people want to justify and try to dignify what happened to Robert Brooks, then that's once again, that says a lot about them. Listen, we all know what Negroes is going to come about and try to justify this. The usual suspects. Imagine seeing somebody doing that to your son or to your father, to your brother, to your uncle. Whatever Robert Brooks did, he was serving a sentence. He was doing a bid. That was what was rendered by the court of New York in the state of New York. You don't go to you don't go to prison to be executed unless you're sentenced to be executed. And he got executed. It was almost as bad as those brothers in Memphis that was high-fiving each other for basically allegedly beating down a brother to where he basically lost his life allegedly and behind a woman. Okay, for those who don't know, a few months ago, around I think it was the first week of October, a lot of people saw my confrontation with the police. A lot of people saw my confrontation with the police, where I was sitting up there eating outside of my car, and the police came out of nowhere and started harassing me, lying, saying that I hit the paramedics' car. How could I hit a car that was behind me? And then I know what happened. It was a white dude and a Spanish lady, and they came over there, and I went off on them. And I thank those Mexicans that had the food truck. They started filming. They asked me, was I okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Then some other people walked up to me, said we started filming as soon as they walked over there. And I cut them off at the path. Before they even could add me, I said, I ain't showing you no ID, Fourth Amendment rights. I ain't committed no crime. I ain't showing you nothing. And I went off on them because they were harassing me. They were bothering me. I was no threat. I didn't hit nobody's car. It was a damn lie. It was just a reason for them to go over there and harass me. But you see what happened? They got the hell out of my face. But see, unfortunately, Robert Brooks didn't have that luxury because he was a detainee. He was an inmate. He wasn't a free man. And it just, you know, it just like it was just gut wrenching every time I look and see how repeatedly they were hitting him. How can you sit up there and be happy that you beat down and you took the life of a man that was handcuffed? Those officers should lose everything. The family should, once again, the family should sue the facility. They should sue the state. They should file civil lawsuits against every officer involved. I mean, take their pensions, take whatever money they have. Because you can't go around doing that. You already are in jeopardy being in a correctional facility. You have so many things to worry about. The least of your problems should be getting taken into a room and getting repeatedly handcuffed and beat down. That was, you can make an argument that was, you could pretty much say, I'm gonna be honest with you. You could pretty much make an argument that was torture. Yeah, that was torture. That was torture. Now, unfortunately, you don't have enough proof. We don't have enough proof, hypothetically, to say it was a hate crime. But we can come to the agreement that was human torture. Nobody can justify that. Nobody can say, oh, tell that. No, listen. The same way, if you have somebody strapped up, locked up, that is considered torture. If you assault him, whether it's with a weapon, whether you hit him with whips, or whether you basically drown somebody on a table. And what I mean by drown somebody, try to drown somebody, while locked down or strapped to a table. That's like when you have, I ain't even supposed to talk about that. But there's this method that a certain group of people, I'm not going to say who they are because I'm not supposed to talk about this, but there's this form of torture where you can strap somebody down to a table and just basically put a towel on them and just basically pour water all over them. And it's sort of like suffocating them. That's a form of torture. My thing is, where's Kamala? Correct. And we know what group of people does that. We're not gonna say we know what group of people does that. I'm not gonna say who they are, but we know what group of people does that. So if that's considered torture, how can you not say being handcuffed to a table and you got people stomping you out? He was defenseless. And everybody should go look at the footage. It's available. It's available. Now I can't show you the actual, footage and basically the still images of basically what they were doing. I had to play it safe because you know how these people are. They get mad when you try to tell the truth. I felt like this was very important to discuss this subject. But I just want to say before I end this video, justice for Robert Brooks. This needs to be talked about. Where the activists at? Where LeBron James? Where all these dudes at that's talking about these type of situations? Where they at? Good. Shout out to World Star Hip Hop. But once again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up Robert Brooks. Robert Brooks was an inmate at a New York State correctional facility that was basically tortured and beating to death by correctional officers. It's your boy Town. I'm out.